Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Husqvarna 545 chainsaw. Customer complaint is that he dropped a tree limb on it and broke the handle. So you can see the handle smashed up pretty good. Problem is he doesn't know if he broke anything else. So we're going to look this over. You know, he wants the saw back in running condition, but he really wants to know also, you know, if that's going to cost him too much, he's not going to do it. So we're going to thoroughly look this over and see what there is to see, starting with the cylinder. You know, if it's got a scored piston and cylinder or even really heavy wear, it doesn't make a lot of sense to move forward with just putting a fuel tank on it. So that would be a decision the customer would end up having to make, but we can't advise them until we take a look, right? So let's get this spark plug out of here. And what we want to see is clean and shiny. Not on the plug, but in the cylinder. These 10mm spark plug holes are a little bit tough to deal with when trying to shine a light in there and put an eyeball on things, but you can usually get enough of an angle to tell what it looks like above the exhaust port. So in our effort to look things over, we're going to pull this bar and chain off of here. And you know, that something, it just doesn't look good. It looks like there was a lot of heat on this bar. Maybe it ran dry for a while. Have a little problem getting the clutch cover off because you know, you got to release the chain brake first, right? And except for a lot of dirt, which is normal, you know, it looks fine. The brake band is good. We know it was functioning. Here's our bar, and it visually looks quite worn. You can see that there's paint missing along the edges. You know, it ran hot. There's some bluing there. But it's a 50 gauge bar, so we're going to take our 58 gauge tool and we're going to try and drop it in the groove of that bar. And if the 58 drops in there, then we know that it's worn. And that's something we have to add to the list as far as expense for this repair goes, because that 58 gauge tool is dropping right in there, so that bar is worn. Now how about the chain? Well, the chain feels a little stiff in spots, and in fact it's rusted in spots. I mean, I can't even turn a couple of them links there that are rusted so bad. Maybe it could be soaked and freed up, but we'll add a new chain to the list of expense for repair on this. I imagine that after he dropped the limb on it, he probably got disgusted and maybe the thing sat outside for a while. So really what I'm doing now is just taking the time to really look it over. You know, go through this a couple times to make sure you don't miss anything. Here we have a loose exhaust system. Some of the bolts on the muffler are loose. We're cranking them tight. But if you miss something like a cracked crate case or something like that, that sure would be a shame to put a new fuel tank on and later find out you had some other major problem. So that's why we're kind of touching everything on here. The starter looks fine. That didn't get smashed at all. This must have been sitting on the ground in the normal position and just a limb dropped on the handle. Even the brake handle looks good. It functions normal. Just dirty. Our spike looks good. Check the screws on there. All right. We need a new fuel tank. And we have a donor saw. Now I think this is a 550, but the tanks are the same. Problem is, this thing's been sitting around for a while, and I don't know if it's a good tank or not. I assume it is. You know what they say about assuming. So we're going to pressure test it. And I've put my gauge on one hose, and I've blocked off the rest of them. I'm going to spray some Mr. Bubbles soapy water on here and look for any kind of leaks. And then we'll use that soapy water to clean the thing. Turned out pretty good, actually. Double checking the anti-vibe springs on here for tightness. Yeah, it looks good. So let's get the front handle off of our saw. You got one anti-vibe spring and a couple longer screws on the right side going into the tank. And these two screws on the bottom, look at them when I set them down on the bench. You'll notice that they're shorter. And you don't want to mix those up. You don't want to put the long screws in the bottom. They'll punch through and they'll hit the bottom of the crankcase. Tighten up the mount for our anti-vibe spring on the handle, and we'll clean things up as we go. So we're removing the throttle cable and the fuel return hose. Now we're removing the main fuel hose that has the filter on it from the carburetor, and this limiting strap. Our chain catch in front, the screw for that is going right through into the anti-vibe spring. And here's our last anti-vibe spring. Alright, the tank is loose. We just got to pull the throttle cable and the fuel lines through the bottom. And then this one cushion, shock absorber, whatever that piece is. I need that for the donor tank. Alright, when this goes back together, you know, it could be a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle getting that tank lined up in there. But more importantly, you need to get the fuel lines and that throttle cable started coming up through the bottom. Because once that tank's in there, you can't really reach your hand in there very well. It's doable with pliers, I suppose, but it just makes sense to get these hoses started first. Yeah. And it can be kind of a pain, a little bit fumbly. So we're pulling the lines through and connecting them as we go. Get the throttle cable on there. And these are preformed fuel lines, okay? So they have a rubber grommet built into them. And that rubber grommet snaps into the bottom of that tray below the carburetor. So you got to get them in the right holes, because the holes aren't necessarily round. I think some of them are triangular shaped, actually. Then you got the grommet pulled up snug. It takes a little time. It's no big deal, but you just got to get it right. And once you're comfortable with all of that, you can put that anti-vibe screw in and hold this all together. So that looks good. There we're attaching our throttle cable. We just get the ferrule started by the slot where it snaps in, and then hit the trigger and it'll log right in. Then we push the fuel return hose on the back of the purge bulb, and the back of the air box has a couple of retainer clips for that hose. There we kind of got it snapped into place. Now we'll put our handle back on. I mean, it's a simple job, right? There's 5 screws. But, you know, I only got 2 hands, and sometimes you fumble with this. But remember, this screw and the one above it are the long ones. Get our anti-vibe spring going into the cylinder. And our second long screw. And then the 2 short screws in the bottom of the handle. So this isn't really that bad of a job replacing the fuel tank. It just takes a little bit of time. You know, the fuel lines, fumbling around with those, that's probably the worst part. Everything feels good. That air filter don't look so great, but we'll talk to the owner about the bar and the chain and the air filter, whatever tune-up he might want. We'll get this top cover on here and fill it up with some fuel. And if it doesn't leak, then that's all I'm going to have for you on the Husqvarna 545 fuel tank replacement. Thanks for watching. Later.